Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The atmosphere in the high-ceilinged ballroom is charged with a mix of jazz music and the low buzz of industry chatter. I find myself hovering on the periphery, a flute of untouched champagne in hand, observing the celebratory chaos of the corporate annual party. My gaze repeatedly drifts to where my wife Lara is engaged in what appears to be a particularly engrossing conversation with my boss, Derek. I take another sip, the bubbles harsh as they go down. Derek, tall and disarmingly charming, has always been a man who commands attention. Tonight, under the soft glow of the chandelier, he seems particularly invested in what Lara is saying. They laugh a bit too heartily, a touch too close. I try to shake off a creeping sense of unease. The moment shifts when Derek's hand, expressive and sweeping with each word, knocks his own drink, splashing red wine across Lara's white blouse. "Oh, damn!" Derek exclaims, his voice a mix of frustration and forced gaiety. "Lara? I'm so terribly sorry." Lara brushes at the stain, her smile tight. "It's fine, Derek, but I think I need to get this out before it sets." Derek immediately flags down one of the hovering waitstaff, procuring some club soda and napkins. His next suggestion, however, sends a cold shiver down my spine. "Let's head to the back office. I have some stronger stain remover there. We'll get that cleaned up in no time." Lara hesitates, looking back at me. Our eyes meet, and she gives a small, reassuring nod before disappearing with Derek through the crowd, towards the back corridors of the venue. Minutes stretch into agonizing eternity. I attempt to mingle, to laugh, but the thumping of my heart drowns out the gaiety. Something isn't right. Picking up my resolve along with 2 fresh glasses of champagne, I decide to check on Lara. The corridors behind the ballroom are dimly lit and deserted. The muted sounds of the party filter through as a distant echo. Approaching the door to Derek's makeshift office, I pause, heart sinking, as unmistakable sounds reach my ears. Lara's voice, breathy and far too enthusiastic. "Derek, how good you are, not like my husband. How deft you are with your tool." The words strike like physical blows, humiliation and anger coursing through me. My hand trembles, the champagne glasses threatening to slip and shatter. I set them down silently, steadying myself against the cold wall. I'm torn between bursting in and fleeing, but before I can decide, the door swings open. Derek steps out, adjusting his tie with a smug look that quickly fades upon seeing me. "Ah, James. I was just helping Lara with the stain." I don't miss the double entendre, nor do I care to acknowledge it. My eyes flick past him to Lara, who emerges looking disheveled and immediately blushing deep red upon seeing me. "Lara," I say, my voice cold and even, "we're leaving." The car ride home is silent, the air thick with unspoken accusations and my mind racing with betrayal. By the time we arrive, my plan begins to take shape, a plan to expose, to humiliate, and to ultimately usurp. Revenge, as they say, is a dish best served cold, and tonight's revelations have left me icy to the core. I will start by securing allies, gathering evidence. Derek will regret the day he underestimated me. And as for Lara, well, she'll soon learn just how disastrous her indiscretion can be. As I unlock our front door, the weight of my keys in my hand feels different, like the heft of newfound resolve. This content may violate our usage policies. Did we get it wrong? Please tell us by giving this response a thumbs down. The next morning dawns gray and overcast, matching the storm brewing within me as I prepare for the day. Lara is already in the kitchen when I descend the stairs, her back to me, a cup of coffee in her hand. She doesn't turn around. "James. About last night," she begins hesitantly. "I don't want to talk about it," I cut her off sharply. My voice is calm, but beneath the surface, my anger simmers. I have to get to work. She nods slowly, tension evident in her shoulders. As I leave the house, the resolve from last night solidifies today. I begin my campaign. At the office, I bypass the usual morning greetings and head straight for the desk of my closest colleague, Ethan. I find him buried under a pile of project files, but he looks up with a grin that fades when he sees my expression. "James, what's up? You look like hell," he observes. "Ethan, I need a favor. Can you grab lunch today? There's something important we need to discuss." His brow furrows, concerned, but he nods. Sure, man. The usual place at 12:30. Perfect, I reply, a plan forming in my mind. Lunchtime finds us at a secluded table in the back of a dimly lit restaurant. Ethan's concern grows as I lay out not just the events of last night, but also the suspicions that have been gnawing at me for months. So, you're telling me Derek and Lara, he starts, but stops, unable to finish the sentence. Yes, I confirm grimly, and I'm going to expose them, but I need solid evidence. I was hoping you could help me access the security footage from last night. Ethan leans back, processing the information. You know that's risky, right, if we're caught? I know the risks, I interrupt. I also know that Derek's been doing some under-the-table deals. If we can tie him to those, it could help us both. Think about it, a promotion might be in line for you too. Ethan's eyes narrow, the lure of advancement evident in his gaze. After a moment he nods. Okay, I'm in. I'll pull the tapes. What about your wife, though? What's your plan there? That I say, pausing for effect, is still unfolding. We return to the office with a newfound alliance sealed. While Ethan starts digging into the security archives, I make a call to an old friend, Michael, who now works in cybersecurity. Mike, it's James. I need a favor. Can you track someone's phone activity if I give you the number? There's a brief silence on the line. You're not getting into anything illegal, are you, James? Nothing like that, I assure him. I just need to know if my suspicions are correct. After a moment, Michael agrees. All right, send me the details. I'll see what I can find. By the end of the day, I have the beginnings of a plan, allies in place, and the wheels of retribution slowly starting to turn. As I drive home, I can't help but feel a twinge of sadness for the path I'm on. Yet, the need for justice, for revenge, overrides any doubts. At home, Lara tries again to speak with me, her voice soft and pleading. James, please, can we talk? Not tonight, I reply, walking past her and up the stairs. There are things in motion now that cannot be stopped, and I am not ready to face her, not yet. By Wednesday, the office feels like a chessboard where every move is critical. My exchanges with Ethan are discreet, our conversations held in quiet corners or through coded emails. He confirms in a hushed tone during a brief meeting in the stairwell that he has accessed the security tapes from the night of the party. I've got it, James. The footage from the back office, it's incriminating. You were right, he whispers, his eyes darting nervously. Good. Keep it secure and send me a copy. We might need more than just that to nail him properly, I instruct, my mind racing with strategies. Meanwhile, Michael's message flashes on my phone. Late in the afternoon, got something you'll want to see. Call me. I dial his number the moment I step out for a coffee break. James, I tracked the number. Your wife and Derek, they've been communicating a lot more than just office chats. Texts, calls, even some pictures, Michael reports somberly. Can you send those to me? My voice is steady, despite the tumult inside. Doing it now. Be careful, man, he advises before hanging up. As the evidence piles up, so does the pressure. At home, the tension between Lara and me grows thicker, a fog of unspoken words filling the spaces between us. She looks at me with a mix of confusion and sorrow, her attempts at conversation shut down by my cold, brief replies. Thursday brings an unexpected player into the fray. As I'm poring over the evidence in my home office, my personal email pings with a new message. It's from an anonymous source, and it reads, James, you're not the only one with grievances against Derek. Check this out. Attached are documents and emails detailing financial discrepancies and questionable business dealings involving Derek and a known competitor. I sit back, stunned. The network of deceit is broader than I had imagined, and now I have the ammunition not just to disgrace Derek but to potentially bring him down completely. That evening, I tell Lara I'm going out for a drink with some old college friends, an alibi to meet with Ethan and discuss our next steps. We meet in a dimly lit bar, a neutral ground far from our usual haunts. Here's the plan. I begin, laying out the documents and the printouts of the texts and emails. We expose everything, the affair, the business dealings, all of it. We go to the board, the press if we need to, but it has to be timed perfectly. Ethan nods, his face serious. What about the fallout? It's going to get messy. It's a calculated risk. If we play this right, we could both end up better off. But we need to be prepared for any blowback, I explain, feeling the weight of our decisions. Are you with me? He takes a long drink, then sets down his glass with resolve. Let's bring him down. We spend the next hour planning. By the time I leave the bar, the cold night air feels like the calm before a storm. I drive home with a sense of purpose, knowing that the confrontation is inevitable and nearing. When I get home, Lara is awake, sitting in the living room, looking distraught. We need to talk, she says as I enter, her voice quivering with emotion. Not tonight, Lara. It's late, and there's nothing to talk about, I reply, though a part of me aches to just end all this deception. She stands abruptly, her eyes filling with tears. I know you're planning something, James. Please, whatever it is, think about us too, not just your revenge. Her words pierce through the armor I've built around my emotions, hinting at the personal costs of my quest for vengeance. I pause at the foot of the stairs, looking back at her, a silent acknowledgement of the storm that is about to break. Friday morning dawns with a palpable tension in the air as I prepare for what may be the most consequential day of my professional life. Today, everything comes to light. As I drive to the office, my phone buzzes relentlessly, but I ignore it, focusing on the actions I must take. I arrive early, the office barely awake. In the eerie quiet, I set up the boardroom for the meeting that will decide Derek's fate. Ethan joins me, carrying a laptop filled with all the evidence we have gathered. We review everything one last time, ensuring all is in order for the presentation. The first to arrive is Melissa, a member of the board of directors, her sharp eyes scanning the room. James, Ethan, what's this about, she inquires, her tone indicating she senses the gravity of the situation. Before I can reply, more board members filter in, their expressions ranging from curious to concerned. Derek strides in last, confident as ever, unaware of the storm about to break. Let's get started, shall we? I begin, my voice steady. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. Today we need to address serious issues involving breach of trust and ethical violations by one of our own. Derek's smile falters as I click the remote, the first slide illuminating the screen behind me. Images flash across it, screenshots of text messages, emails, and financial documents, each more damning than the last. What is this? Derek demands, his composure slipping. James, what are you playing at? This is not a game, Derek. This is your undoing, I state plainly. Here we have evidence of an inappropriate relationship with my wife and illicit business dealings that have compromised the integrity of our corporation. Gasps echo around the room, and Derek's face reddens. This is absurd. I have no idea what. Save it, Derek. We even have video evidence, Ethan interjects, stepping forward to play the footage from the party night. The room falls silent as the video plays, the betrayal undeniable. Derek looks around, seeking an ally, but finds none. As the murmurs start, my phone vibrates one last time. Ignoring it no longer, I glance down to see a message from Michael, the cybersecurity expert. It reads, "Last-minute gift. You might want to see this before ending things." Excusing myself, I step out to call him. Michael, what is it? James, I found something else when tracking Laura's phone. It's not just Derek. She's been in contact with someone else, someone you wouldn't expect. Who? I demand, a sinking feeling in my stomach. It's Melissa, your board member. They've been talking planning. It seems Derek was being set up to take a fall. Stunned, I take a moment to process. My revenge, while justified against Derek, was part of a larger play I hadn't seen. Rushing back into the room, I confront Melissa, who sits calmly, a slight smile playing on her lips. Melissa, care to explain why you've been conspiring with my wife? I ask, the room going quiet again. She stands, the smile never fading. James, sometimes to shake the tree, you need to start at the roots. Derek needed to go, for many reasons. You provided the perfect opportunity. As for Lara, well, she wanted out. I just gave her the push she needed. The room erupts into chaos as accusations fly and alliances shift. Amid the turmoil, I realize my personal vendetta has been used as a pawn in a larger scheme of corporate chess. Weeks later, after the dust settles, I find myself in a new position, unexpectedly promoted, while Lara and I finalize our divorce. The betrayal stings, but it's overshadowed by the bitter lesson of trust and manipulation I've learned. As I sit in my new office, the weight of leadership on my shoulders, I reflect on the events that unfolded. Power, I realize, is not just about holding it but understanding the landscape in which it's played. My revenge was costly, but it opened my eyes to a world of shadows where sometimes the enemy of my enemy is not a friend but another player in the game.